Happy New Year! I know technically we are at the end of January, but this is a video I had wanted to do and didn't get to at the beginning of the month, and it also kind of made me feel a little bit better to hold off on doing the kind of like resolution-y step into the new year video. One of my favorite podcasts is Almost 30 Podcasts. I will link them in the bio because they are literally I love them. Like, that show has changed my life entirely and inspired me beyond belief. Recently they did an episode where they talked about goal setting, and they talked about how we have the holidays, and the holidays are intense usually. A lot of times, you know, there's so much that you have to do. You have to shop for gifts, you have to see all of your family, you have to see your friends, you want to have fun, you want to do all these things, and it's great, don't get me wrong, but it's a lot of stress all at once. And then you get a few days and New Year's and you're supposed to like be ready to go. That's an intense time of being like, you get a few days between this very intense time of the year where you're super busy and probably stressed. Even if you work really hard not to be stressed, you're probably stressed. And then you have a few days and then you're supposed to start fresh. That seems wild. This year I really took it as like, let's slowly get into 2022 this January and take this whole month to kind of figure out where I want to go, where I want this year to lead me, what I want from this year, and kind of experiment but a little bit. I feel like I have all sorts of planning things going on. I got my vision boards, I have my Pinterest vision board, I have my planner, I have my to-do list, I set some intentions. So we're just like going for it. We're really gonna make things happen this year. I just want it to be different. I hate to say better because I do like to look back at my past experiences with admiration and joy, and I do, but I feel like I've been kind of stagnant for a while, especially before the pandemic, like right before the pandemic and during the pandemic. It just felt very stagnant and like sad, and so I really want to push through that energy and move forward into 2022 with, you know, new energy going into the new year. A thing that I've really loved this year to inspire me is vision boards. I've been looking at vision boards kind of as an aesthetic or a vibe rather than something specific. I've made vision boards probably every year for the last, like, I don't know, 5 to 10 years. I did it with my mom when I was home because we started doing it together last year when I lived in Ohio, and then when I was home over Christmas we made them, and it was so much fun. And there was no pressure to have anything specific because we had to just use what we had, which I really liked, because I feel like in the past I've been like, oh, I have to put on Broadway because I was pursuing musical theater for so long, and I felt like I had to put on certain things because those were the goals that I should have and I should be really specific about them. Whereas in the past few years, my life goals and my career goals have kind of become sort of wishy-washy and not so clear. It's been really inspiring just to go with an aesthetic. My mom and I cut out a bunch of magazine pictures from like these beautiful images, and looking at my vision board now, it just exudes the energy that I want to feel. More generally, that kind of romantic, whimsical, indulgent, joyful, true to myself energy that I'm looking for. Sorry, someone's doing lawn work outside. So keeping that aesthetic has been really nice. And then my Pinterest board has been my literal favorite thing. It's been such a great escape for me this year. Follow me on Pinterest as well. I love putting aesthetics together, and I have a 2022 aesthetic board that I keep adding things to. So it's this like ever-growing vision board, and every time I look at it I get inspired. I get inspired to get dressed, I get inspired to work out, I get inspired to read a book, I get inspired to create something. And so that's been my like ever-changing, evolving, you know, mood board of the year that has been so inspiring already. I have a lot of different tools that are pushing me forward this year because I figured, you know what, why not do it all? You know? My little brother got me this. If you watched my What I Got for Christmas video, you saw this. He got me this to-do list, and then also my passion planner, which I'm assuming you probably heard of passion planners. If you haven't, they're brilliant. I don't necessarily, I think, use them to their full potential, which I would like to, but it does get a little bit overwhelming to me. They help you kind of roadmap your dreams. I got obsessed with planners in the 2nd grade when they gave us a planner to keep track of like our homework and assignments and things, and I was like, this is the best thing I've ever gotten. So since the 2nd grade I've had a planner every single year, at least one, if not multiple. So I love it. These are my tools. Notebook, gotta have a notebook. Lists, my favorite thing. A planner, vision boards galore. Honestly, I feel like I'm made for YouTube or a podcast because I love to talk. I love to talk, and not everybody likes to talk, so I can just talk to you all the time. Let's talk about goals. I was very inspired by Alison Bickerstaff. She's one of my favorite YouTubers. I will obviously link her here. A lot of my videos are inspired by her qualities, so you'll definitely probably see some similarities because I admire her so much. She breaks her like New Year's goals slash like resolutions, I don't know that they're really resolutions, into different sections, and I thought that kind of made things so much clearer and more organized and like less stressful. So I felt like I could have these different sections of my life that did have different goals that I'm, striving towards. And I don't even know if I can call them goals. I don't know the right word for it, to be honest, because I'm trying not to make it too intense because I feel like that gets overwhelming and then things don't happen because I get scared or overwhelmed or feel like everything has to be perfect. And so this year I broke it down into different sections and then wrote out some goals within that. So I have home, which kind of includes obviously our physical home, but also I felt like me and Robbie, because that feels like home, our relationship, our marriage. And then personal, which is more like individually me, professional, and then I added a little section for fun. I feel like fun could go in the personal section, but I wanted something completely separate because it's hard for me to break down. It's hard for me to give myself time to have fun when I feel like I have so much work to do to move myself forward. So there's one little section just for fun. I'm going to kind of go through all of the ones that I put in there, but I also made templates for you guys. They'll definitely be in my blog and on Instagram to screenshot as well. So I'm just going to kind of talk through my like intentions that I broke down on my little list. In the home department, for me, the home feels kind of all encompassing of our actual physical home space, and also like me and Robbie, like he's home and our marriage and relationship is home, so I've kind of put that all together. The first thing is to create a chores list. Robbie actually suggested this the other day, and I never grew up having chores. We just kind of like did things when we were asked, but I really like the idea of organizing it, so that way throughout the week we can, whether we do it all in one day or like one of us tackles a task, that way we don't have to feel like it falls on one of us, like everything falls on one of us, so that way we can have a little bit of organization with that. And also I think it's nice to kind of see things of like what needs to be done and what needs to be done consistently. I think I might get like a dry erase board for our refrigerator so we can have a little check off list, because I love a list. The second one is to schedule a weekly date night and check-in. This is something Robbie and I have been talking about, something we have been doing. It really helps me when I know I will have dedicated time for us in our relationship, because we do both work from home in a one-bedroom apartment. So we're together all the time, but I feel like it can get kind of convoluted and not messy, but the boundaries can kind of warp. And so I like the idea of having a day or a night set aside just for us, and little date night things like going on a walk or going on a drive. We had a Star Wars marathon the past 2 weekends, which is great. We're big Star Wars fans, so that was fantastic. And then we try and do check-ins every week too. It's something we started doing when we went to couples therapy before our wedding. She suggested it, and it is such an amazing part of our relationship. I could probably do a whole separate video about it. The check-in can be if there's something that I need off my chest or he needs off his chest about us, or just in general in life. Like a lot of times it ends up us talking deeply about where we're going in life, what's freaking us out, what we're worried about, what we're happy about. And so it's nice to just have that space to talk about it. And for me too, especially, neither of us are really confrontational people. We're not like bickering people or arguing people. Neither of us like it or communicate well that way. So it's nice to have a space where if there is anything that's bothering us, we have a safe space to express it. And it's really great. We go on and off with doing it regularly, but that's something I really want to do regularly. Why is that so hard to say? Regularly this year. Another thing on my home list is more DIYs, because I've been feeling really crafty, and because we're keeping things on a budget, I want to invest in our home space because it just feels good and I like it and it makes me happy. I would love to be in a house, but that's not where we're at right now. So I feel like investing in our rental space is so important to me. So I definitely want to do some more like DIYs. I've done a lot in our apartment. I'll do an apartment tour probably in the next couple of weeks to kind of show you guys our space, because I'm very, very proud of this space. Another thing is to have a seasonal clean out, which is something I already kind of do, but I haven't like officially done it. At the start of each season, I like to clean up my closet, but I think it'll be good to clean out everything just to kind of start fresh with each season, because I do accumulate a lot of things, I've noticed. It stresses me out. So when my environment is clean and everything has a space and I don't have too many things, it feels like life can just go on. And then to get to personal, I've had quite a journey kind of rediscovering who I am in the past few years, which kind of seems funny because I'm 30. With the pandemic and also getting married, kind of shifting career paths, I've really had to delve inward to kind of figure out who I am. And it's been scary, but it's good. And so this personal section is more about that, more about expressing that and like diving more into that. First thing on my list is read more classics. I've been reading so much in the last year and a half, I guess it would be about a year, in the last year, like rediscovered reading entirely. I've read more than I have in years in the last year. But one thing I do want to do is I want to dig back into classic books like Jane Austen. I want to read Lord of the Rings again, things that I've never read like Little Women or Wuthering Heights. Go back to Great Gatsby, which is my favorite classic book of all time. I can talk about The Great Gatsby for days. If you ever want to analyze Daisy Buchanan with me, come on, I love it. It fills me with joy. That's a goal of mine, is to, within my fantasy books and my self-help books, to throw a classic or two in there. And I think once I get back into a reading routine, I definitely will, that will be easier for me. Another thing is making time to sing, and that's something that I need to do just for me. Obviously, I pursued a career in musical theater for about 10 years of my life, so my livelihood, oh no, sorry about the leaf blowing? It's a leaf blower. I think leaf blowing has quieted down. Anyways, about singing, I kind of stopped singing, I have stopped singing in the past few years. It was hard because it was something I had to do. Got very competitive to me. It was something that was so easy and freeing to me as a young kid, hence why I always knew that I wanted to pursue being a singer. But then once it had to be my livelihood, it got a lot harder. I want to find my way back to that freedom because it is the place where I feel most connected to my soul, is when I'm singing. Originally I had put find time to sing, but I changed it to make time to sing because it's something I need to do. And it's something I need to do just for me, not for auditions, not for Instagram, not for anybody else. I need to do it just for me. So that's definitely something I'm going to make time for this year. And it's funny, I put wear more sparkles and be extra because I am someone who loves clothing. I love being loud with my clothing. I love being loud in general. I am just a loud person, but I have quieted myself quite a bit throughout my life because of it's a lot. People don't always respond to that well. Rather than still expressing myself, I think I kind of shrank a little bit. So especially with my clothing, I feel like that's such a great place to express myself, of just wearing something extra, being as loudly myself as I can be. And I feel like that starts with my clothing. And this one kind of is in the health and wellness realm. I wrapped this into personal because I think it's something I have to do for me. It's something that feels good, is to maintain a workout routine. For years of being in musical theater, I had to be in good shape, essentially to get the job. At least that's what it felt like. I had that like drive always to work out consistently and keep a routine. Whereas now in the pandemic, it feels like it kind of felt like, what's the point? But I miss having the energy I had from working out consistently. I miss feeling embodied because, you know, I was treating my body so well. So that's something I'm going to stick to this year, 100%. And it's not, losing weight is great. Having abs is awesome. But generally, for me, it's to keep up the routine because it is something that I need to do regularly. I know it helps me and I know it makes me feel better and more like myself. The next one is travel. It's something that I really want to do more of. I know it's possible on a budget. Probably looking at some road trips and things this year. I definitely want to make that happen. We have one of my dear, beautiful cousins is getting married. She's like a sister to me, and so we'll be traveling a lot for that. But outside of that, now living in the South, which is not a place I've ever lived in I've never lived before. We're in driving distance of so many places. Beaches, of course, I need to get to beaches, but like I want to go to New Orleans, I want to go to the Carolinas, maybe see a bit of Georgia with Robbie because we haven't traveled like a whole lot together outside of jobs and work. So that's something I really want to do this year. I want to make that a priority and find time and find space in our budget to do that because I just think it's so enriching to see new places. Also, I would love to like go back to Europe. I've been craving France. I've never wanted to go to France in my life until this past year. I like really want to go to France and Italy. So maybe sometime in the nearest future. This last one is remember to text your friends. I say that to you too because I feel like a lot of the times I get a little worried that I'm getting in someone's way if I'm reaching out to them, which sounds silly, and I don't know why I talked myself into that. And so I kind of have stopped myself from reaching out to people, but the more I do it, and even if they don't respond, it still feels good of like sending them that energy, sending the energy to those people that I love and I know who love me. So don't forget to text your friends. And then professional. So my professional life is questionable at the moment. I'm not really sure where I'm going, what I'm doing, and so this one is really specific. A lot of it is kind of about just being diligent. So the first one is create a schedule and stick to it. This is something I'm not always great at. I'm not always great at follow through. It's just about sticking to what I know I can do and following through. The next one is batch. I'm trying to get better at like batching activities and like batching content. So batching is like when you essentially do, my friend Jules has a great video on this, when you essentially do similar activities at the same time, so that way you are just more productive. So say if you're taking photos, if you take all of your photos in the same day, that way the next day you can focus on writing or sending emails or writing a book or whatever you is. So that way the similar tasks are all together, rather than someone like me who jumps from task to task to task to task to task to task to task. It's hard to say fast. And then I like don't get anything done because I can't focus. If I were to hyper focus on one thing, I would be much more productive. So that's something I want to get better at this year. This is a simple little goal and something I'm already doing, which is great, is to upload 1 to 2 videos every week on YouTube, which, hi, if you're seeing this, this is my first one of the week. So great. This next one is try new things. I always have so many ideas and I see these other people put out these amazing things and I know I can do it, but I often overanalyze it, so it never ends up getting out of my head. And so this year I want to put out as many things as I can, even if I'm not ready. And this is something I've been thinking about for a while, create a service or a product. And obviously it's a great way to make money, but there are so many like skill sets and things that I have that I can share that I feel like I don't share because I don't feel like I'm as qualified or whatever it is. I have so many ideas and I just don't put them out there, and this is just something I've been wanting to do forever. And so whether that's merch or like a downloadable ebook-y type thing, I have tons of ideas, and so that's something I'm actually going to make happen this year. And this last one is explore something I never thought I'd do, which, because my life is so fluid and shifting right now, I feel like I have this opportunity for the first time in my life to try something new. I had to be so hyper-focused when pursuing a career in the arts, because if you're not, it's not gonna happen. And that sounds intense, and again, that can be a whole other whole other vlog. You're kind of taught that you need to be hyper-focused in order to achieve success in the arts, and I think that's probably, you could say that about anything, but it was definitely like driven home for me in musical theater that if I had my toe in anything else, like that was horrible. Which also now I'm like, that's stupid and dumb. But now I'm looking at this as an opportunity to try new things, apply for jobs that I have no qualifications for, but just feel exciting to me. So that's something I really want to do this year as well, because who knows? And the last one is fun, and this is my favorite one. This is actually my very first like resolution I put on a list this year. I think I put in on a post-it note. I was like, I want to cosplay. I wanted to cosplay for years, but I was too scared, and I also feel like I need to be in really good shape and all that kind of silly stuff. I really want to cosplay this year. I'm not sure when I'm gonna get started, but I'm gonna do it. I'm telling you guys now, and so it's gonna happen. And then obviously create more, just like in general, whether that's dancing, singing, painting, drawing. I just found all of my coloring books that I haven't colored in forever, making cards for Valentine's Day, that kind of thing. I just want to create more this year. This one is skip more often. I just feel like I hold back in movement a lot of the time as well, because people are like, why are you doing that? And I've let those voices get in my head over the years, and that's silly because I actually don't care. You know, so I feel like letting that effervescent energy flow. This is kind of a silly one, is play on TikTok. I feel like TikTok has felt very intense to me, but I do think there's so much room for fun and self-expression there. So I want to use that as a platform that's just purely for fun and not necessarily for marketing, even though I know it's a great place to grow and whatnot. But I think it has the ability to be a great place of expression for me, and obviously it is for so many other people. And so that's one thing I want to try and do this year. Rather than letting it scare me, just use it for fun and a place of expression. And then this last one is pick up a few comic books. I never really got into superheroes or comic books when I was a kid. Being married to Robbie, who is a big, you know, comic book fan, sci-fi fan. I've always been a sci-fi fan. His passion for it really excites me, and also I'm obsessed with the Marvel world now, thanks to Marvel and also to my husband. And so I really want to pick up like a comic book or two just to see, because I feel like it would be fun. And why not explore new things, you know? Who knows? I could love it and maybe I won't, but I do want to try it. That's all for my like goals and tips of the year. I hope that this was at least inspiring to you to look at things differently this year and really step into your best self. So I'll see you next time.